The NFL season isn't over yet. If your season-long fantasy football league isn't cutting it, get your mojo back at FanDuel.com and pick a new team every week. Put your true fantasy skills to the test. Oh, by the way, you could win real money. That's right, real money doing this. Joe Watson from New York played fantasy football on FanDuel for less than 2 weeks last season. He won over $30,000. Join him and hundreds of thousands of other users who have already won money. It's an incredible experience. If you're a football fanatic like myself, you want to go to FanDuel.com. It's the leader in 1 week fantasy football leagues. The money's real. Entry fee start at just $1. No season-long commitment, no upfront fees. Play each week or whenever you want. You set a new lineup each week. You win every week if you're good enough. And you know you're good enough, right? FanDuel's paying out more than $170 million. $170 million payout for this NFL season. You have to play this to win. That's the only way you can do it. So you got to sign up now, all right? Sign up today. Go to FanDuel.com. Click on the microphone in the upper right-hand corner. Use my code, Krenn, K-R-E-N-N. Sign up now. New user special is ending soon. FanDuel will match your first deposit dollar up to $200. Up to $200 free. Offers only good for the first 50 people that use my code KRENN, K-R-E-N-N. You don't want to miss out on this. Be one of the first 50 people. Go to FanDuel.com right now. Don't forget to use my code KRENN. FanDuel.com, where every week is a new season. That's FanDuel.com, FanDuel.com. Sign up today. So maybe you got a great idea for a business. You want to start selling products or services online. Maybe you're an established business owner and you're looking for new customers. Maybe you're interested in starting a personal website. No matter who you are, GoDaddy. That's right, GoDaddy wants to help you succeed online. Right now, GoDaddy is offering a .com domain for just $1.49. That's right, $1.49. It's go time. Start your website today. Visit GoDaddy.com and enter promo code JIM149 to get your $1.49.com. Some limitations apply. See website for details.
This is the Jim Krenn No Restrictions podcast. We're coming to you nationwide. We are coming to you worldwide on the Sideshow Network. It's Mike Wysocki, Terry Jones, Mike Sasson, and here's your host, radio and comedy legend. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jim Krenn!
Jim Krenn, No Restrictions on the Sideshow Network. Brought to you by Beaver County Auto, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Nissan. Beaver County Auto. Go there for all their holiday specials, new and used cars. You can't go wrong. Best deals in town. Right there at Chippewa Exit, Constitution Boulevard, Beaver County Auto. Also, Dave Settlemeyer, Josh Folio, Frank Mergia, Wayne Wow, our team in studio. On mic, of course, myself, Terry Jones, Mike Wysocki, and Mike Sasson. Happy holidays to everyone. Today's show, I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving and digested their turkey and didn't do the Sleeping Beauty diet or anything, and everyone's relaxed and ready to roll. You know, for it all. So you guys, I got to tell you, it's an interesting time of the year for me. It's the 3rd year anniversary of my getting fired from a radio job I had. I had a morning show for 24, 25 years, almost quarter century almost, 24 years. And
almost as long as I've been alive.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny, Terry. Yeah. Technically 20 because I ended up getting fired in February. They held on to the contract till March of 2012, from 1988 to technically.
So when I was 3.
So technically 25, but 24 on the air live. You know, but yeah, since you were a baby, but it's an interesting. Yeah, it was an interesting time, and here we are 3 years later, and ends up being a blessing in disguise. I get to do this podcast, get to be with my friends at the Sideshow Network, which have been fantastic, get to hang out with you guys, which is enriching and a lot of fun. People walk up to me all the time and ask, what happened? What happened? I had a non-compete, so the first 6-7 months I couldn't say anything. And what I did was going to say, I don't like to be, I'm just not a bitter guy about things. I mean, life's been too good to me, and God's blessed me. There's nothing to be bitter about. But, I do want to tell the story a bit.
People keep asking me what happened.
Still,
all the time.
to this day.
Still, all
You get it,
the
Mikey,
time.
all the time?
All the
Yeah?
time. Yeah.
You're on Krenn's podcast. What happened?
What happened?
What? Why ain't he on the radio no more? And I just tell him, well, he's now on KDK.
We're on. Yeah, I'm on. I'm lucky. Yeah.
In that voice, you say he's on KDKA Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, are you ready for some Krenn Nation?
Yeah, 8 to 9 and Friday. I love doing it, with Larry and John. It's nice that those guys invite me on. I do love it. So between a podcast on that, and I've been fortunate enough to do some film acting. We'll be doing some announcements on that coming up in a few weeks.
Jimmy Krenn actor.
Yeah, it's been fun, man.
He's in some movies.
Yeah, we got some big announcements coming up in the stand-up and stuff. And like I said, getting to work with you guys has been a real treat, man. I love it. And our listeners on the podcast, which many of you listen to radio, but there's some new listeners also that have joined in, and I appreciate it. We're going to be doing some more live shows in 2015 also, just a footnote. But, but 3 years later, it was an interesting time, too. I remember because, like I said, after doing something for 24 years, and the ratings were really big with just huge ratings. So a lot of the city listened. Different reaction, and I said this joke before. It was a joke. It was kind of true. It was funny how Pittsburgh has reacted, man. And the difference between Pittsburgh and other cities are if you get fired for a long time, you get fired. It's too bad, man. Pittsburghers, you see them in the supermarket, and hey, you all right? Yeah, sure. It's terrible. Yeah, I'll be all right. You all right? Yeah, I'm all right. You want to live with me? we got room. We got room upstairs. Yeah. You and your wife come in and dog, cat. We don't care. Yeah. I got allergies. I'll take Benadryl. I don't care.
I got buddy works
okay.
knows somebody at PennDOT if you need some work. They're redoing Rod 8. You need some.
You could be bouncing down the Chucky's bar in the rocks. You be bouncing going to bounce. I know you can't fight, but that's okay. You're not. It don't matter. Use guns anyway. No fights anyway. But people are just very kind, and that was one thing that when it happened, I really no regrets on staying in Pittsburgh my entire career. I love of course some offers to leave and stuff, and I'm glad I never did. I'm glad I stayed here, especially during that time, which is weird when you think about that. Because when you get fired, I don't care what anybody says. People get fired, they say, "Oh, it was nothing. I'm fine." No, it sucks getting fired, man. It is. It's a kick in the ass, right? No matter what. Especially with my situation, was I was not expecting it. I had the number one ratings. I mean, the idea of a contract I signed was to have big ratings, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, ratings that we had, for instance, in the demographic 25-54, is that's an age group that we were shooting for. Mike, you had been in radio a bit, Mike Sassons. And I know Mikey's on been in radio too, but in Tara, I've told you about this, but the ratings 24-54 is a key demo for advertising. That's what they want us to hit, and that's what you have to dominate. Yeah. That's what they wanted us to do. That was our goal. So I would from when I started in '88, I was coming off of 6 years as a stand-up comic, full time, and we were 17th in the market. I just remember that. Because I remember because I was learning ratings at that time. I didn't know what the first day I joined, I didn't know. I was on a show. They asked me to join it. I thought it would last 6 months. I thought that's what it was going to be. I was ready to move to Los Angeles. I had been headlining for about 2 years, and comedy clubs were booming still.
And you had some offers in L.A.
Yeah, that's some solid offers in L.A. To be managed and all that kind of stuff. So that's the plan. And I start getting asked to be on TV when I'm in town on Fridays. I start doing, and it eases into them saying, "Would you join for a while, 6 months?" I said, "Okay." So I remember canceling some really important gigs that I had. So it was a commitment. And I thought, well, this would be kind of fun because I was on the road. 6 months on the road, you're on the road. It's not a normal life on the road, right? So I wanted to be in one place, and of course, I love Pittsburgh. It's my home. And so coming home, and I remember the ratings and all, and I didn't realize what was going on. DVE had a comedy duo, a team morning show called Jimmy and Steve, and they were dominating the ratings too. They did very well in the ratings, and they had a contract dispute, or whatever, and they went to Florida. They left DVE. Well, DVE, that's why DVE fell to 17th in the market. That, and they had a slight change in their music and things like that. Well, anyway, someone else bought them at the time when I was there. I can't remember. Hanna-Barbera, I believe it or not. Somebody like that bought them back then. And so they knew management, knew everything.
Cartoon Network.
Yeah, it was.
Butcher.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, it was
Flintstones is up
Hanna-Barbera.
in there.
Rated,
Deputy Dog Bottom.
ratings, boo boo.
yeah, it's true. Yeah. Gee, but yeah, so they buy and they knew management and stuff and program directors and GM and stuff and they were real talented guys and stuff. But Scott Paulson was there for about a year or so. But I remember joining the show and they were we're starting to put things together and stuff. These guys and so things were in motion to get better and. They let me do my thing, and it was interesting because I thought, wow, I could do comedy and do anything. Yeah, pretty much. It was almost like R-rated. The FCC wasn't really that strict, I guess, or whatever, but I was getting away with shit. Maybe because we were 17th in the market at the time, whatever. But anyway, so Scott and I hit it off, and start doing bits and all that, and characters I had been working on. Stanley P. Kachowski, Ben Clinks, the Mulgard, Otis.
Classics.
Started doing impressions of the mayor, Sophie Maslow at the time, and all these different characters. So whoever was out there was doing some mixing impression and storytelling. What I kind of do now, whatever. And at the time, it wasn't a lot of people, I guess, from what I don't know, doing that. There was a guy named Reed Cordick years before I had come around. He had done skits. They had told me I'd never heard him, but I heard of him. But anyway, the skits start catching on, which was wild. The first thing was the Take a Walk on the South Side, a song I did with the parody of Lou Reed's, Take One on the Wild Side. Take a Walk on the South Side gets huge, man. And I start to, people are singing it, people are talking about it, and then this Otis character idea started catching on. Like I said, Ben Clinks, then people started doing Free Spunk, Nobody Moved. Well, anyway, this is in 88. By the late 89, we were number one in a city, 2554, with a 16 share. So
it only took. How long did it take you then?
About a year and a half.
Damn.
And it was made. I don't know how that happened, whatever, but it happened. And so we have a 16 share, which is unheard of. It's normal's great as a 10 or 9 or whatever, but we had a 16. And from that moment until the moment I got fired, we never went below that average. The average was throughout the whole year. The average would have been a 15 to 16 share.
Now, a share again means like that's the percentage.
Represents
a
certain amount of people, whatever,
that are listening to the radio.
They're listening to the radio, and so just to give you an idea of the rating. So anyway, so that's a huge amount. They have they get a 15 or 16 share in that demographic, and other demographics we were very well too. We were always in the top 3, 18 to 34. That's a different demographic, 18 to 34-year-old listening stuff. And so we did real well there. But the one they wanted, when I would sign contracts for, was that 2554, in particular for DVE. So I end up, my last book, when I got let go, I remember because I asked the programmer what we had. It was a 15.8. It was the last month or whatever we had. So that's what it was weird, getting fired with 15 shares and averaging that, I'd say, throughout the year, easily 15 share, between 15 and 16 was the average throughout the year, I'd say, which was odd. So that's where the surprise is. So I don't know, because people say, why did you get fired? I never really got a clear explanation why I got fired. And it's really weird how it happened, and I'll explain. I remember getting called in right around this time, 3 years ago, this time in November, and there was the guy. I'm not going to name any names. I was protect anybody. I don't want anyone to get any kind of animosity toward them or anything. Let's just joke around with it. But let's say the guy. Okay, let's just say there's one guy was kind of orange. Okay, like a spray tan orange thing going on, and a little guy. You just barely see his little head above the desk, and he had a mullet. and he, nice enough guy, but he's sitting there.
So fucking Oompa Loompa is the one that did this shit to you.
But a trashy Oompa Loompa.
He had to do what he had to do. Maybe I don't know. I don't hold that.
Like he got fired from fucking Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory.
I really
so you, Willy.
Yeah, I really don't hold anything against him.
I'm gonna fucking ruin my friend.
So it was him, and then this other guy was there, and they're all real little, by the way. I don't know what it is. There must be the water or whatever. But they were real short and little.
telling you
real
what it
little,
is.
like little guys. And and the other guy, the programmer guy, was there. There's a couple of those, and one guy, he looked. Let's say he's constipated, man. They hadn't gone to the restroom in about 6 years.
Shit.
Yeah. Don't even say that in front of him. And
don't remind him.
And the other guy, is like the hottie duty on amphetamines or something like that. Kind of that weird look. The haircut I had. The haircut I had in 4th grade, like that haircut. And that's just describe the room.
Shit is funny.
And so these are running the whole ship. Yeah, whatever part of it. And there's other people too behind the scenes doing
Dude's
it too.
about to
There's
shit
other
out a
people.
statue because
But
it's so damn
well,
backed up.
he's scowling. One guy's scowling, and there's the orange. And howdy doody guy. So howdy doody orange man in constipated is sitting there, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, but orange man looks at me before constipated man howdy doody walks in. He goes, "We're letting you go." Like that, like I'm expecting it.
Yeah,
that was the best part about it. You're like, we're letting you go. Like, what the fuck?
You had no inclination.
No,
that this was you thought you were just having a meeting.
Not
with
a 15, 16 share. No, so I'm like, yeah. What do you mean?
That's what you
That's
said?
what I said. Yeah. What do you mean?
Yeah.
What
Can
do
I
you mean?
swear more?
Let me go. Go. Yeah. Go. Run.
Yeah, I gotta go home. Yeah,
We're letting you go home. Yeah. That's it. Letting you go. And I said, what? Yeah, we were firing. You're letting you go. What? I'm like, you got to be shitting me. That's what I said, too. I was like, really? And so now constipated man, how do you come sitting in there, right? And they're just starting to go off on, how they're firing me. And I'm sitting there, and I am being calm on the outside. I'm trying to be a professional.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And keep my calm and don't say anything. On the inside, I'm thinking in my head, you motherfuckers. But I didn't say that.
Right.
Just thinking.
You know what I know what was going on in your head.
Now,
Inside your head, you was Denzel from fucking Training Day.
I was Denzel. I'm King Kong.
King got shit on me.
On me. Yeah. So
I'm gonna put cases on all you bitches. You think you could do this to me?
Oh. Exactly. That's right. I'm waving the gun. But I'm like, I was thinking that. But I kept calm.
Yeah.
I kept calm like this happens to me every month. My normal month. Yeah. The firing? Sure. Been through it.
Firing.
Been through it many times. In the meantime, I have the only job I ever had, right? Besides stand-up full time and this. So I'm sitting there going, my mind's racing. It's like racing. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? And I'm thinking, what the fuck did I do? Who did I insult? Which one of these programs? I program upstairs. I insulted her. Well, granted, whenever they're talking, I do just nod and say yes, I'm going to do it, because they do give you genius advice on how to perform, because they all have great comedic chops.
Yeah.
And when I have the meetings with them, and they're giving me the comedic chops and telling me how to do their work, the stand up and stuff, and write the bits. Of course, I mean, since 1988, yes, of course I go with her, because they're coaching me. And of course I need that. And that's really their instincts. How do I even do it? I wish they were sitting next to me to perform.
Yeah, because they just did a weekend at the Comedy Store out in L.A.
So. They worked their way. Yeah, they worked their way. They earned it. They earned their comedic chops. And why shouldn't they tell me how to do it? How to do that and get those 16 shares, because that's how it was. We're a team. That's a part of that 16 shares. And what do I have to do with it? I'm a little minuscule part. So anyway, I am sitting there with the geniuses and all that. But
geniuses.
Yeah, they get the 15, 16 shares, and I'm along for the ride. But I'm sitting there.
You're along for the ride.
And they tell me.
The SS genius with these three.
Jesus, how did I pull the fucking wool over their eyes, right, for 24 years? And so they say, we really, it's my favorite line. They go, we think, this orange Oompa Loompas guy, Mr. Oompa Loompa, give him respect. Mr. Oompa Loompa says, we think you still have some value to the company. Okay. Now this is their. No, believe me.
Thanks.
Yeah. Well, actually, at one point said, at one point he's me. I wish you could have been a little more respectful. And then how do you do? He goes, well, he is respectful. We are respectful. Because he's basically sitting on Mr. Oompa Loompa's lap at that point. But he's guess what he's it's like that was one of his guys. But and I'm like, really? They thought that. Let's say from their end, if they wanted to ever hear sitting here, which by the way, they're welcome to come anytime and talk about it if they want to really give their side. Because I like to hear it.
And we can get some good advice.
Yeah, I get some good advice too on the show, but I like to hear their side of what they're thinking.
How do we run a podcast?
Yes, yeah, right. Because here's the thing about it.
Well,
about
Willie.
it too. It's yeah. So they're sitting there and they're telling me they're respecting me and the whole thing, and they're going through. They think I still have some value to the company, and they're taking. I'm like, so I'm trying to get the whole thing out. So I'm saying, so you're taking my contract away. I'm fired right now. And they go, yeah, you're no longer allowed on the air, but we still have you under contract, but you're not on it because I still had 1.5 years left on my contract.
Now you were trying to negotiate like days that you could come in too.
No, there was no negotiation. I had no negotiation.
Well, you asked them, like, hey, can I do...
Well, later. Yeah, it's what happened
okay.
after they tore the contract out. Okay. My contract. But they still had me under contract. Now, they took me off the air and said they still had to pay me at that point my full salary because they didn't let me go completely at that point. I was off the air. That was it. And I wasn't allowed to talk to anybody, the press or anything. Now, Dave could maybe talk a little bit, our agent here, Talent Network, my agent, so Dave could talk a bit, but I wasn't allowed to really talk. So I get this note, like a offer sheet, which I still have, the offer sheet. I kept it because it's so fucking funny and unreal.
Maybe they should be
if I ever write a book, I want to put it in there. I'll block out some things. But And it wasn't about the money. I swear it wasn't about the money or anything like that. It was the offer. I looked at the offer.
Shit's funny.
And there's no radio on it. There's no fucking radio on it. Like I'm looking at the offer, and I go, "What is this?" And they said, "Well, we want you to be, quote, the ambassador of the station." And I'm like, the ambassador? What is that? Do I wear a robe and just say, welcome from Alliance, Ohio. I am the ambassador.
So they'd send you to like quick lube, Jiffy Lube openings and stuff like that?
Yes, I'm the ambassador. Welcome you with open arms. Please, I'm trying to keep peace. No wars. The ambassador's here to negotiate peace. Let me handle it.
Dressed as a nobleman.
Let me handle it. Unless it got complex, then the program directors would come in, take care of it. But, so I'm like the ambassador. And so they had these promotions where I was at, and there's like, so many promotions a year I do. And I'm like, they're looking, there's no radio. There's no radio. It actually had on there specifically, I could do Sean McDowell every other week or whatever it was. It's some kind of specific break, do a break on his show to promote stand-up stuff or whatever. They knew I loved doing stand-up, and they're trying to appease me on that end or whatever. So, but that was it. That was the weird thing. So I'm looking at this thing. I'm like, okay, there's no radio on here, but there's no morning show stuff. There's no you can be a guest on the show. And so I asked them. I said, Mr. Oompa Loompa and everyone. And there are people beyond that too that were part of this. But I said, I would like to do. No, remember, my mind's racing. I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I'd like to do one day a week, and they said, actually, no. They go, no, just like that, like not even thinking about it. Maybe, God, you've been pretty good on the show. That's something we should banner. It was no radio, like that, no morning radio. I said, well, I do like maybe a couple hours on a Friday or whatever, like, once a week or maybe twice a week or whatever. Maybe we can work that in. I can perform my characters and still have a connection with the audience. Yeah. Again, a curt no. In unison, Mr. Constipation and How Do You shaking her head no. It's amazing. So they do that, and I'm sitting there going, I don't get this. After 24 years, why wouldn't I just be allowed to go on the show for a couple? I mean, if I'm leaving, I'm going to willingly help them and say, hey, I'm leaving the show because they wanted me to do or say, obviously. Mm-hmm. They don't want to make it like they fucking, did this. So, of course, it makes sense PR-wise. And, so if I want to do this, and I'm going to do some other things in my life, try some other things or whatever, which is, something I thought of doing quick as my mind's racing and all this stuff. And all those thoughts come in your mind. Like, I'll be a professional shuffleboard player, maybe I'll be a dog groomer, things I wanted to be. No, but
those are noble goals.
Thank you, Mike. And,
But ambassador wasn't on the list.
ambassador just wasn't there.
Ambassador of rock.
I actually told him at one point. I just blurted it out. I don't know. This doesn't make fucking sense. It was a sports analogy. I go, hey man, I still got my fastball. That's all I said.
Always a baseball analogy.
Yeah,
you can always use one.
I still got my fastball, and they looked at me like I was fucking nuts. So, but I knew what I meant. I was like, hey man, I'm not ready to fucking just shake hands like with my fucking Joe Louis, and the day's over. I'm shaking. I'm not. I'm still at the Joe Louis point where I'm still be able to fight. I'm thinking
Knocking out people.
Greeting people at the station.
Yeah, I'm greeting people at the station. How you doing, Jimmy Craig? Yeah, Punch Drunk Jim. How you doing? But I'm still. I'm like, I still enjoy performing. I still like the morning radio vibe and stuff, and the energy. And they didn't want anything to do with this, man. And I remember they said, well, let's keep talking about this. And I didn't want it to. I was done. I wanted to leave, but I couldn't. They wouldn't let me out of the contract. I'm still under contract. Mm-hmm. And they said, nah, let's keep talking about this. And I swear to God, they said this. They go, remember, we're family here. Ooh. Yeah, I know. Yeah, too much like my real family. Yeah. But I'm like, oh my God, all right. And they say, yeah, let's just keep it out of the agents and lawyers and stuff. Let's just keep it out of there. Just family. Yeah, those lawyers and agents that would.
We're just sending you.
It would be to my advantage. Why would I do that stupid shit?
We're just kicking you.
Yeah, I got my advisors there. My comedic advisors are to my left and right. What the fuck do I need a lawyer for?
We're kicking you over to the Thanksgiving card table, but you're still in the family.
Pretty much. Yeah, what do you need that agent for? So immediately, of course, I called Dave, the agent. So I placed my buddy, one of my best friends. I said, Dave, what the fuck is going on? So he said, all right, man, let's honor what they want to say, blah, blah, blah. And of course, I go back in the next meeting. They got a fucking lawyer sitting there. Yeah, pretty impressive. But anyway.
He's part of the family.
Pretty impressive. No, it was a she.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, but anyway.
And Krenzel is still going off.
Krenzel was in my head,
You'll be in Pelican Bay when I get through with you. 23 hours.
Well, I kept thinking, here's the thing. Okay, I'm thinking in my mind. I'm thinking, all right, we have a 15.8 or whatever, and like I said, we average on 15 and 16 share, and I'm thinking, all right, what did I do? Who did I fucking piss off to do this, man? Because remember now, I actually said, I did say, hey, do you want to cut my salary? Do you want to work something out? Because I love the connection with the listeners. I love the gig. I really did. I said, this is a cool. It's something I've been part of for 24 years. Mm-hmm. I said, I'll work with you on salary if that's what it is. Because I never really, when I negotiate a contract, and any GM, if they wanted to be truthful, they would tell you that I never held them over the coals on any negotiation. They gave me a negotiation. They always paid fair. I felt, and I tell you, it was great money. It was incredible money, actually. So I never really raked them over the coals, and I didn't use an agent. Or Dave wouldn't have said, "Hey, just do it, Jim. You're fine." And I would sign these contracts. So it wasn't like I was fucking railing him every time we were negotiating contracts and stuff like that. Not that I wasn't that guy, but I thought to myself, all right, what did I do? I'm thinking, as a character issue, is there anything I could have done? At that time, ironically, the FBI was nominating me for a national award, the Community Service Award, which the director of the FBI gets. And I got to tell you, they vet you pretty good before they're going to put you up in front of the director, and he's going to give you an award. Okay, so so it's not like anybody could say, hey, he did anything immoral or anything that they want to say. Hey, by the way, I ended up getting that award, which was a great honor, in May of 2012. That award, then director Robert Mueller gave me the award. But point I'm making is, okay, so I'm going through my mind. I know it's crazy to think that, but I'm thinking that. I'm thinking, okay, what did I do something I think immoral or some sort of, broke some kind of code to the contract that I signed? And I didn't. There was nothing they could say. If I did, I'd like to hear it, but there's nothing they could say that I broke any kind of code on the contract. So I thought, all right, I didn't do that. The ratings are 15.8 that month, and like I said, the average was very strong. I was always 15, 14, 15, 16. 14 was to be a low month or whatever, but for the most part, it's 15 and 16. Never ever lower than a 14, ever. So, but 15 would say the average, mid 15s, and I'm thinking that's all great, but yet they let me walk out the door because of one thing. They felt, obviously, because there's no other reason, unless they can tell me one, that I wasn't part of that 15 share or 16 share. If I was, you wouldn't let me walk out that door if you thought I was part of the 15, 16 share. So I thought that was a mistake on their part because of the writing and performance that I had to put in. You have to push to get the 16 share, you have to push yourself to incredible limits. My wife knew. Some people knew. You know, you got to push yourself and others around you to a point where it's not a great thing a lot of times, physically and mentally. But you have to get the 16 share, and I did that to myself. And they didn't know, or they didn't really know what I was putting into it or whatever, and they had their thoughts, I'm sure. But let's just say the facts are, the science of it is, if you want to go through facts, that after I got let go, by March, which was January, February, March, 3 months after I left, we went from the 15.8, and when I left, they dropped to a 10 share. Damn. By May, they were an 8.8. Yeah. They bounced back to maybe a 10. They've hovered at a 10. They've never gotten close to the 16. Until they get to 16, then they're 15 share or even a 14, then that could show me proof that, you know, of what they're at, maybe their argument. But my argument is, or not argument, but the facts show that what I feel that was a mistake, that they should have kept me to do 1 day a week or 2 days a week, kept me in the fold somehow, and just bent a little bit on negotiation. That was the thing. There was no bend on the negotiation. Like there was one time they made it sound like to the outside that like there was no, because at one point I did give a negotiation. Like I said, okay, I gave some kind of number, and I gave this and that from that original sheet that I told you, whereas I put 1 day a week on, I put a little more money, and all this, just a negotiation to see what happened. Mm-hmm. And they said, all right, we'll get back to you in 24 hours with our counter offer. I'm like, okay. And I was like, I told Hetty, I remember telling my wife, hey, they're negotiating at least they, you know. I got it back 24 hours later, and we opened the email up, Hetty and I, and we looked at it, and it was the exact same word-for-word offer, the original offer, the exact. Not 1 cent, not one change, not one anything changed. So at that point, I felt it doesn't seem like they really want to negotiate. No. It didn't seem like a negotiation. But so at that point, I thought, all right, well, that's in their words they used were too. They wrote a little note. We think this is a great deal for you. That's what the guy wrote.
Oh, of course.
So I said, okay, good for you. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, his guidance, you know, but I just didn't agree. So I ended up, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go and sign a deal that would destroy my radio career, that I wouldn't be really on any morning show, any type of show, really.
Your legacy.
Yeah, I would maybe just do a little bit with, you know, like I said, with Sean, they were going to let me do twice a month or something, however it was set up. It was a bizarre setup. But anyways, essentially it was no radio contract. It was to be the ambassador, whatever it was. I wasn't going to do that. I wasn't going to, you know, I felt I was being disrespected in a way with the way they treated me at that point. And it was amazing how great people treated me. You know, as I felt, I knew who they were. I knew the listeners and what they were. I always said they were like family. They really were. They really, you know, came through for me anyway. I mean, I'll never forget that. And that's kind of a special thing, that the way the listeners treated me and the way they stayed loyal to me and kept me going. And like I said, I met a lot of great friends, and I have been able to reinvent and do a lot of different things. I didn't sit around. We got a lot of help from some people too. You can't do it alone. But everybody, it was really neat to see people come to my rescue, really, or prop me up. Really, that's what you guys did. All my friends and family did that in the city of Pittsburgh. The people, they made me anyway. That's who makes an entertainer. An entertainer's made by their audience. That's the way it goes. That's what it's all about, really. You're given a privilege by God to perform. If you're lucky enough, you can connect to an audience, and that's what I was lucky enough to do with this audience here in Pittsburgh. And they were the ones. But you know what? That was the cool thing. It really never was about any of that other bullshit. It was always, the relationship was always between me and the listeners. That was our bond. That was our thing. So it doesn't matter what happens or where no one could stop that. No one could stop that bond. And that was what a lot of these people were saying. We were coming forward and, I said, propping me up and staying with me or backing me up is, Jim, we're not going to let this stop us. Keep going. Do your thing, and and that was that. And I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the backing till this day. It's amazing. But that's the story. That is what happened.
Well, here's the thing that gets me about that whole thing is, like, you go from a 16 to a 10. Mm-hmm. The morning show sets up the whole station.
Yes.
Because when people set that, you put it on the radio, you're driving to work, That's the station you're going to listen to on the way home. If you're in an office or something like that, if you listen in the morning, that's the station's going to be on all day. It sets up everything. So I guess my thing is, you go from a 16 to a 10. That's millions of dollars in ad revenue down the drain over the last couple of years that they've done, and no one's ever come up to you like, oh, well, this is why, we did analysis, we did this, we did that, we polled people, we did that, or they say we're trying to trend younger, or what nobody has ever said that's what they're trying to
nothing.
do.
They did say that in their initial meeting company, we're going in a different direction, is all they said. But the weird thing was when they said they're going in a different direction, a lot of the format of the show and style of the show is kind of my style. Without me there, no weird way.
It is. It literally is.
Character-driven skit comedy, which I do. It's like, and
some of our shit been taken.
Just kind of whatever.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, but yeah, I have respect for everybody. I don't diss anybody. I really don't want to diss anybody in things, but
I will.
Like you said, but like you said,
when Jim don't say I will.
That's what didn't make sense, Mike. When I thought that too. I thought when they let me go, I'm thinking, wow, man, you think I'm not part of this at all, but
they did.
This
is why I say they did.
They really let me go.
This is why I say they did. They offered you a contract to be the ambassador. The reason they wanted you to be the ambassador is because when you joined in the 80s for WDVE, the audience literally grew up with you. You were in your 20s. The audience was the same thing.
Yeah, two generations.
Yeah, literally. Everyone I know that listens to DVE grew up with you on the radio.
Absolutely.
It was a complete different thing. You've never, like Prince says, he said, if you don't talk down to your audience, they will run with you forever. You never talk down to your audience. You've been one of the realest people within Pittsburgh. You are Pittsburgh, pretty much. I mean, when people think of Mr. Pittsburgh, that's you. Your face is on fucking Permanis down the Strip District next to Michael Keaton in the fucking Batmobile. So, I mean, you helped make that station, if not make that station. So what ended up happening was, the reality is, they're like, oh, well, if we can shelf Jim Krenn and let him not do anything and use his face and continue to use his skits, continue to put all the shit that he's put together over 20-something years and make money off of it, that's what the fuck they're going to do. That's what they were trying to do.
You know what, though? That's just it. It was one of those things where, because some people say, oh, God, you didn't say anything nasty about them, this and that. And I hope, I was trying to be funny and tell the story at the same time. I wasn't trying to be nasty, really. But I don't have any animosity because, like I said, I never really took it as like, I really, at no time, Dave could tell you, or Hetty, at the very moment of those that was going, I really never had any animosity or hatred really from my end of it. Now Terry or Hetty, they're warriors.
Yeah, we're different.
For me, man, it was like, all right, you don't want me, man. It's all right, whatever. Okay,
I think almost more shocking than anything.
It was more shocking and
because it's like you do something every day for 24 years, and then all of a sudden you're not doing that.
Yeah, I was just trying to wrap my head around why and all that stuff. To me,
and inner schedule, and it just messes up everything.
It's it's a change I had to make and all that. But I was like, all right, man, you know, when I finally digested after the first few weeks of it, and like, all right, man, you don't want me, then. You don't want me, and that's it. I'll move on. But like I said, the connection was there with the listeners. I mean, the emails were just overwhelming. I believe they crashed their server at DVE and stuff. So that was a nice feeling. When somebody from over there told me, say, the response was kind of wild and melted down their computers and everything from the response.
That's the thing.
It was amazing from people.
Shocking for the city. I remember when it happened and it really hit, and everybody's like, Jim Krenn's off WDVE. It was almost one of those things of like. It made zero sense. It would be like if the Steelers were like, we're just gonna fold up and we're not gonna play football anymore. Like it was kind of like that. Like it was that one of those things of like that makes no sense whatsoever. I mean, the river. We're what, Pittsburgh. We're just what, Penguins. No, we give up. No, we're not gonna. That's really what it was. It's a civic institution just stopping. Yeah, now this is the question I have: were these three executives from the city of Pittsburgh?
No.
They were no, but here's the thing: they were one was part of the station for a while, and I was a key player in getting him hired. The other guy who wasn't in the room at the time, he was one of the people who were around when I was hired. He was a key player who hired me originally. These people see me bring fucking audiences to their feet, and I don't want to act arrogant or anything, but they did.
That's not.
They have seen me bring audiences to their feet.
True.
So that was a shocker to me that they didn't. stop this or whatever, or just say, hey, man, you give him a day or two a week. What do you have to do to keep him here? But their attitude, and I thought, if they're going to get rid of me like this, that they should at least show some respect and call and say, hey, man, we'll give you a day or two a week. What do you need? Let's you're part of this. You'll always be part of it. I didn't get it. I really didn't get that. Where they want to say they did that, that is not true. I didn't get any of that from them. What I got was basically, this is a great move for you kind of attitude. And, you should sign this thing kind of attitude. Why won't you do this kind of attitude? That was their sort of attitude toward this whole thing with me as it was going along. Like I said, they were welcome to ever come on the show and explain why they thought it was logical to let me go. And
after I frisk them.
I don't. So whenever anybody asks you, walks up to you and said, why did they fire him, what really happened, you could just say, hey, listen to Jim Krenn, No Restrictions. And we'll get the episode number, whatever number episode this is.
93.
Okay, we'll just say 93.
We're going
That's
on
the
100
number.
soon.
Just say, hey, we're got 100 coming, a big party with after that. But just say 93. Just go to 93 of Jim Krenn, No Restrictions, and it'll tell you the exact story. That's what happened. That's all. That's why like I said, I still don't know what happened. Obviously, it was a budget thing involved. There was an egos, I'm sure, involved. I'm sure there was things that they believed involved, and they believed through other people. Why, that I wasn't maybe responsible. Obviously, the only thing they didn't think I was responsible for the 15-16 share. Because why would you get rid of a 15-16?
They try to keep you as an ambassador to keep that 15 share.
Because
if you were the ambassador, and they brought somebody on and gave them a quarter of your salary, to be on that show, then
play best of stuff or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm telling you, they would have stayed at a 15 share because they would still be getting a fix off Jimmy. They might ask, yo, why aren't you on the show? And eventually people would demand it, and most likely you would get on. But it feels like you went from hell to a heavenly spot right now.
Well, actually, I am happy, and I got to say, I have no bitter feelings toward anybody there at the station. I really don't. I mean, the current GM now is actually a friend. I like this guy and his wife. They're wonderful, great people, and I have no ill will toward anybody or anything, man. It's like it's all good, and I don't know why. In a weird way, they have one toward me, and I don't know what it is. And maybe it's the program. I don't know, or there's some people that are still there. What I'm saying is kind of funny because at one point, and I'll just say, I just think this is funny. But they said, I remember them telling me, this isn't personal, it's business. One of those. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. Now, I said, yeah, sure, whatever. I never took it as personal with them. I really didn't. They thought I did, but I didn't. But the funny thing was, 6 months later, we did the Byam show, Jim Krenn live with a few very talented comedian buddies and some great music talent and stuff. And but anyway, it was a few months after that. So I did Jurgles, great club in Warrendale, northwest there. Jurgles is great, and you were there. And Jurgles did this concert. Jurgles went to buy ads on DVE, and DVE, they wouldn't let them buy the ads. They wouldn't let them say my name on the ads.
He never existed.
He wouldn't let me. And I'm like, that was the first show. I'm like, holy shit, what did I do to them? I mean, why am I not allowed to? There's not allowed to say my name on the air. DVE. Wow. And then I did these car ads and stuff, and I was plugging our podcast in the car ads and stuff. And they DVE made me do a separate commercial, because I couldn't say Jim Krenn, No Restrictions, on the commercial. And they debated whether they didn't want the car ad commercial because my voice was on there. They were trying to block it. But the sales went out. Sales went out because it was too much money, But they were initially trying to block, which was so weird to treat me like, wait, I'm one guy. I mean, Jesus, I'm not
You're not just one guy. You're an icon.
That's why I bring up
Ra's al Ghul said, if you become more than a man.
That's the thing. That's why I said, are these people from Pittsburgh? Because anybody who's from Pittsburgh and understood how this town is, understood the kind of connection you have with, the loyalty that people have. Yeah,
they're incredible loyalty. It's amazing.
And to sit there and just go, oh, we can just get rid of the guy and we'll keep this. That's what I'm like. Have you ever been here? Have you ever, do you know where anything is?
The weird thing they had known what they were doing in that sense. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's a bizarre thing to wrap my head around. There's enough people in that building, and it's. Like I said, the whole deal of one comedian friend, I won't, to protect him, I won't say anything, But he called me. This is a major comedian, real funny kid, and you'd know his name obviously if I said it. But he says, "Jim, they won't. I got a memo. What's going on over there?" What do you mean? I said, "I don't know. The time I was fired, so they let me go." He said, "I'm not allowed to mention your name at any point." It had on or off the air or whatever. Like he wasn't allowed to say my name. I'm like, you're kidding. There's a memo that you're not allowed to say my name. I'm like, holy shit.
Yo, Jim Krenn's like Beetlejuice in that bitch.
I'm like, what the
Jim Krenn.
I thought this wasn't personal. I mean, what the hell did I do?
It's
That's what they're worried about. That if he says the word 3 times, all of a sudden he appears.
Yeah. So at some point I became public enemy number 1 to them, but I don't know why. Maybe someday they'll ease up on that. I don't know what that's all about.
No, they
but,
won't. It's
but I have it was a great 24-year run. I enjoyed it, man. I have no bitterness. But if I guess I'm banned. My name's banned from there. I guess I'm saying.
No, it is.
Well, obviously, they can't even buy ads with my name on it. But that's kind of fun. I just thought it was kind of funny.
There have been people that have come to like
interesting.
shows we've done and that work there or whatever, and they've come up and said tell Jimmy I said hi, tell him so and so was here because but they work at the building.
Yeah,
it's pretty crazy.
I'm afraid. I know some are afraid to contact me because of maybe repercussions. Who knows what they're thinking? But for whatever
Mikey's
reason,
looking at me like, oh shit.
I would never put you in the middle of any of that, Mikey. It's just because
No.
I don't want. That's why I don't want it to be uncomfortable. I don't want it to be where they don't let my name on their air and all that kind of stuff. And
yeah, it's ridiculous.
I don't. I just want to move on and enjoy my time that I was there. I thought it was a cool.
From Reagan to Obama.
Years. Yeah, I went from Reagan to Obama there, man. That's a big part of my life.
That's funny as hell.
So it's a big part of my life. I'm very proud of that time.
And the people they brought. I mean, they brought Howard Stern into this town to try to beat and couldn't do it.
Couldn't do it.
No,
They did it in almost
he married
every
a
other
woman
town.
from this town and couldn't do it.
We kept the 15-16 share through every single wave of
But Stern
competition.
came in for maybe a couple years and tried. They couldn't get number 1, and they just pulled it.
No, they were there for 7 or 8 years.
That long? I guess it was that long.
Yeah, I mean,
and they never got on top.
Not one. Howard Stern never beat the morning show I was on.
That's loyalty.
See,
in the 25, 54-year-old male demographic or female,
Which
men and
is
female,
his-
is his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Never, not one book, not ever within 2 shares even. Never.
Wow.
At times we doubled it. At times we'd have 18 shares and you'd have a 9. It was amazing time.
They packed up and got out of town.
Well, eventually that Clear Channel thing happened, I think, with
Yeah.
him and stuff. He had
Yeah.
a legal issue, I think, but it wasn't that. And he's I love Howard Stern. I think he's incredibly talented. I'm a huge fan of his. He's a trailblazer. But he's awesome. But it was an amazing run of the ratings, man. We went up against great shows that I admire. I think Opie and Anthony are brilliant, all those guys. And these guys named Mark and Brian in L.A. years ago. Bob and Tom. They're all really. These are legends to me. I love these guys. I look up to them. They're that talented. But yeah, we were fortunate. The loyalty, the audience stayed with us 15, 16 years, year in, year out, month in, month out. The rating system changed, still 15, 16 years. It was an amazing, amazing run. The people still, that's what's so cool, that we're still connected in a different way now, connected with everybody, and I love the way we are connected because through the podcast, through KDKA, which I want to build that back up again with the reconnect with everybody on KDKA. But I can't thank anyone enough. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for all the support you've given me and the way you kept me going. And you said, yeah, Jim, we want you to keep going, man, whenever this all happened. Because believe me, it was tough, to reinvent. But I'm glad I got the kicking ass in a way. God kicked me in the ass to reinvent, like you said, Jared.
Yeah.
And it's been great. It's been a nice time. Believe it or not, I've had an incredible 3 years. I wouldn't trade it. How about that? It's been that much fun the last 3 years. I wouldn't trade it. That's how much fun it's been. And I can't wait to see what's next, man. And I appreciate everyone, like I said, listening and everything and the loyalty. And thanks for listening today. Today's show is Jim Krenn, No Restrictions on the Sideshow Network. Hey everybody, it's Jim Krenn of Jim Krenn, No Restrictions. I just wanted to take the time out to thank you for listening to the show. We have a little over 100,000 subscribers now, every week listening to the show. Go to SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, or JimKrenn.com. and subscribe today. And thanks again.
If your business, whether large or small, is in need of commercial collections, choose PrimeCore Group. PrimeCore Group is a Pittsburgh-based corporate collections agency. Now, if your business is owed money, PrimeCore Group is there to help you. On a contingency basis only, PrimeCore Group will recover what is owed to you in a professional and trusted manner. Contact PrimeCore Group today by going to primecoregroup.com.
It's Jim Krenn, no restrictions, and we thank our sponsor, Beaver County Auto. It is an incredible car dealership. Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Nissan. New and used cars available. Josh's grandfather just got a truck out there. He's really happy. You get the best deal in town. And the nice thing about both new and used, they back it up. Their service is outstanding. That's the thing. They don't forget about you. You buy it, you're part of the family. It's family owned. PJ built this thing from the ground up. It's Beaver County Auto, Constitution Boulevard, right off the Chippewa exit, and sponsor. And we are honored to have them as our sponsor for Jim Krenn, no restrictions. It's Beaver County Auto.